I'm Tom Baker, this is Chasing Cars, and today we're getting an early look at a car that Toyota believes is going to generate as much hype at launch as the fabled 86. This is the new C-HR, which is Toyota's entry into the booming small SUV segment, and a car that's going to compete with models like the Mazda CX-3 and the Honda HR-V. Well, you're certainly not going to miss this diamond-like shape going down the road, and Toyota are really showing us a more adventurous side with the new C-HR. But what's it like inside? Well, let's jump in for an early preview and make sure you click subscribe so you see our full review once we've spent a bit more time with this new car. It's a new theme inside the C-HR as well, with the diamond motif continuing in here and a variety of other organic shapes. Both grades come with this protruding touchscreen with navigation. This car is the high-spec Cobra and it gets shapely leather seats and a number of other premium touches inside, but both C-HR grades feel very well built. Materials are soft and premium, particularly the leather on the steering wheel and the soft dashboard. Both parts are actually soft, plus space up front is good. Despite those futuristic lines outside, the C-HR remains pretty conventional in the back, so there's definitely space for 2 adults, 3 maybe at an absolute pinch, but the kids will be okay back here. You do get these fairly small windows though as a product of the shape, but the view out the front windscreen is nothing to complain about. Practicality isn't bad either. Despite the sharply raked rear end, the C-HR actually houses a very useful 377 litre boot, which gets much longer with those back seats folded. So what are my first impressions of driving the Toyota C-HR? Well, they're pretty good, and that's because this little car is really interesting. It's a really interesting Toyota, and the reason for that is because it feels pretty European. So initially the C-HR was only going to be for Europe, and Australia signed on pretty late for it. And I'm glad that Toyota Australia did that, because we generally like our cars to feel pretty European in this market. So the first interesting thing is what's under the bonnet. This car has a small turbo petrol, which is not something we're used to hearing from Toyota. So there's a 1.2 in there, which produces 85 kilowatts of power and 185 newton meters of torque. And that's a decent amount of shove for a little car like this. And in turn, the C-HR feels kind of muscly off the line, and it has that satisfying urge of decent torque, which you don't get from a naturally aspirated engine. So that's a good thing. You can have it in 2 or all-wheel drive. The all-wheel drive system can send a maximum of 50% back to the rear wheels, but most people are going to be just fine to save money and go for the lighter 2-wheel drive in this car. The transmissions, you can get the base car, which is actually more like a mid-level in competitors like the CX-3. You can get that with a 6-speed manual. Most people are going to go for the CVT automatic, and I'm happy to say it's actually a pretty good CVT. It's a lot less groany, a lot less whiny than most other CVTs I've driven. 95% of the time, you don't even notice it. It's only when you really pin the throttle that you realize, okay, it's a CVT, it's not a torque converter or a dual clutch. It's totally fine. The steering's nice, it's direct, the wheel's nice and small, so you feel like you're getting more of a result from your inputs, and the handling is good. So the C-HR doesn't roll much in the corners. The center of gravity is really low thanks to the new platform that this car uses, and it's quite a satisfying car to punt around. It's just the tires that start getting squealy when it's pushed. With further upgraded tires, this car would be even more capable. The ride quality though is just about spot on. It's nice and soft and supple, but it doesn't make you feel sick, it doesn't wallow. It's a nice balance between slightly sporty dynamics and comfort over long drives, and these front seats help with that as well. So, first impressions, very interesting little car. I'm glad that Toyota Australia took it, and I'm looking forward to spending a full week with the car to give you my detailed impressions. My main takeaway from the launch of the C-HR is that it's really full steam ahead at Toyota. We've been getting hints for years that Toyotas are on the brink of becoming more interesting, more emotional, more aspirational vehicles, and with the C-HR that promise is being delivered on. Good car? Yep. Strong first impressions? You bet. I'll be getting one through the garage as soon as possible to examine in more detail.